Welcome to the Staffing Playbook podcast, your go-to resource for navigating the dynamic world of staffing and HR. I'm your host, Stephen Farrell. Join me each week as we dive deep into the strategies, insights, and stories that shape the staffing industry. From the latest trends to expert interviews and practical tips, we'll equip you with the right tools and knowledge to succeed in the staffing industry. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting out, the Staffing Playbook is here to help you play your best game. Let's get started.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to episode 11 of the Staffing Playbook podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Farrell. Today's topic, we're going to discuss from post to placement, the secret to a standout job ad. I am joined once again by Genevieve Borg. I can never say
or what are we going to say? Borgoyes?
Borgoyes. No.
Although I got a really funny one the other day. They're like Borgoyes. And I was like, oh, okay. But Genevieve Bourgeois, thank you so very much, Stephen, for having me back on again.
Oh my gosh. What a fun way to start the episode with slaughtering your last name, which I will always get wrong, which is terrible. I got your first name right. It took me a couple months.
I'm just going to start calling you Esteban.
Hey, I'll take that. That sounds sophisticated. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
Well, welcome back.
No complaints, beautiful weather. And we got a great topic today, right?
We do. We're going to talk about the secrets to a standout job ad. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So HR leaders, recruiters, anybody that has to post a job ad or write a job ad, this is your topic today. Genevieve's got some great tips and secrets, some of the best kept secrets that she's probably developed on her own, and she's going to share with us today. Before we get into it, we had a little bit of a scare about a week ago with the ports, and it was looking pretty terrifying with 45,000 workers going on strike.
You got to keep in mind, I'm on the East Coast, and so we were going to be just like impacted big time, but I'm so happy that they actually came to a resolution. I know that the resolution, it's only going to be temporary to get us at least through like Q4, but at least negotiations and conversations are happening. But that's frightening, especially for when it comes to the people who are working,
right?
I mean, especially right before the holidays.
Yeah, I was watching a news story of a trucker bringing a load to the port to be shipped out internationally, and he was stopped dead in his tracks. So not only were product not coming in and being offloaded, but product wasn't going out either.
Yeah, which ultimately it does impact our GDP. So, I mean, like imports, exports, like this is a whole problem. Like when it comes to logistics and staffing, the whole economy.
Dodge the bullet there.
Let's be honest.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get this kicked off. Really excited about this topic. So today we're going to be talking about job postings. They seem like they are easy. It's an easy enough task for most people to accomplish, but we both know through experience that that's really not the case. So I want to start with when you need to post an ad. Where do you start? And understanding the responsibilities and requirements. Is it about understanding just the responsibilities and the requirements of the job?
Okay, so yes, those are key components you need to understand. Okay. However, I feel like there's so many times I've seen a job order just come in over the desk and it's like, okay, here's the shift, here's the pay, here's the basic requirements, right?
Pretty typical.
But it's also typically lacking a lot of information. Okay. So just kind of like a best practice or like a yes Yeti tip, as I like to call them. Um,
Mhm.
Go and speak to someone who's actually within that role. Okay. Or the management team. Get a clear understanding and define what you're actually looking for before you just take a piece of paper that has a couple of notes. Because I can go and tell you, like many, many moons ago, okay, we'll put it that way, when I was transferring from one career to another, I gave over a month long, like, hey, I'm going to be leaving. I'm going to be starting a new job in this career field, blank, 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 blank. Um, and so I was trying to be really nice and I had to go and interview a lot of these people. I was like, okay, I was like, why am I getting people who are really unqualified? They don't have the skill set, they don't have X, Y, and Z. And you got to keep in mind, this was for a very, very, very large company
Mm,
with a great reputation. And I got to tell you, I was like, okay, how are you advertising for this? So I actually worked with HR and they showed me the job ad.
yeah.
It was missing so many crucial pieces of information about what I do on a daily basis, about the actual experience level. Like, mm,
This is where John Viev really geeks out. Like her and I have looked at some job ads, and you should just, if you guys were in the room as a fly on the wall, you should just see her face, the words she uses, which you wouldn't use on a live show. Like it's almost entertaining in itself, which is a lot of fun.
oh, I'm just like, oh my goodness. I was like, okay, you're lacking so much. And I like to go back to like, hey, all right, what would make me apply for a job?
Yeah.
What would make you apply for a job? And the fact that they were missing critical pieces of information, oh my goodness, that was that was a big issue. And so I actually went through and I was like, I added to it. And then on top of that, they lacked a whiffum. Okay. They
With them.
lacked any like company culture, and it was a phenomenal company. Don't get me wrong, because I only work for the best. And then on top of that, like there was no real call to action. And there was no reason why it's like, hey, why would I want to work here?
Yeah. Yeah. The WIFM is really important. I want to go into that for a second here, but before I do, I was reading an article from SHRM, and they stated that involving current employees and creating job postings leads to more accurate and compelling descriptions. And so you have these large organizations and lots of recruiters, and they've got a lot of these are just templates they were passed on from the recruiter before them and the recruiter before that recruiter, and often people don't take the time to go and let's go talk to the actual employees working in that role, and let's talk to the leaders that are leading those teams for that role. And because things change every day in our businesses, and so the job ads shouldn't just be static. You should not be using a job ad from a year ago, let alone 5 years ago. You should be updating it every time you have a new position that you want to post, right?
Yes, for the most part. Okay. Like I do love the idea of having a template when it comes to certain parts, but every role, every position, it's constantly evolving. And that's where getting those critical pieces of information and insights before you post is so important. Because I know job postings can be boring, all right, but there's a certain structure which we will get back to. So I know you want to
So
get
let's get
back to
into the WIFM. What does WIFM means? And so walk me through it.
what's in it for me. Think about it.
So it's
What's in
not
it
it's
for
not a
me?
Wi-Fi FM. It's a what's in it for me.
Yeah, no, no, it's not no weird Wi-Fi FM. It's what's in it for me. And whenever I'm applying to a job, I have to go and think about, okay, what's in it for me? And then I do the reverse when it comes to a job posting. It's like, what is in it for them? What's going to be the selling point? What's going to be the call to action? And you work in sales, you know, no
Yeah.
deal is better than a bad deal. However, you also got to think about, okay, when you're talking to a client, a potential client, um, they have a problem. We have a solution, right? Now,
That's right.
do you want to go and talk about all the broad stuff, or do you want to actually really be like, listen and be like, hey, okay, because we could potentially have the right solution for them, which is the WIFM for them. It's everyone should
Yeah.
know the term WIFM. What's in it for
What's in it
me?
for me? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We should get that branded and like, I don't know, on post-it notes
What
or
what
something.
are what are some of those what's in it for me that you would have in a job ad?
Okay, for myself, okay, like a WIFM, if it's lacking it, it's like you've got to give reasons to why someone should apply. Sometimes it's like, okay, I want to know about the benefits, right? That's
Hmm.
really important, especially like
Yeah.
healthcare, okay, dental, vision, you name it.
Yeah.
Okay, is it a remote job? Could that be a benefit? All right. Is
Right.
it going to be that flexibility? Is it going to be like the pay range? There's
Mm.
so many different WIFMs of what it could be to that individual, right? But for myself, there's certain things I look for, and there are certain things that I'm like, okay, nope. I know for myself, I am not going to do this because that's not what's going to be in my best interest, right?
Right.
But the biggest thing for me is probably corporate culture and company
Mm.
culture. I've worked for plenty of just toxic companies in the past, and
Yeah.
like I like to know more about, hey, okay, am I going to be a good fit? Is this going to help me have like the right work from home balance? Is this going to provide me the benefits? So the with them, it's something that's personal to everyone. But if you want to attract the right candidate to the right position for the right company, there needs to be some information in that job posting because that's going to help you with your retention, which is going to prevent turnover, which we know
Yeah.
is very costly. We'll get into
I,
that later.
I like what you mentioned. Like for you, culture really matters. Like that's at the top of your list. And for others, it might be pay or it might be benefits. And so, isolating those key, maybe 5 to 7 things that, when you talk to the people that are working in the role, what they value, what's the WIFM for them, those are good, kind of signposts of what you should be advertising in your ad for the WIFM. There was a Glassdoor study that found, speaking of benefits, that 70% or 76% of job seekers consider the benefits package as a major factor in evaluating the job offer. And so you have to keep that in mind. If 76% of job seekers are saying, hey, we want to know what the benefits are, well, then you probably should put in the WIFM that you have a comprehensive benefits package, that starts on day one, or 100% paid or 80% paid, whatever it is, to attract those job seekers that are seeking benefits among others at the top of their list.
I could not agree with you more. Like honestly, it's especially it just benefits. What type of package? Okay. Now, when it does come to advertising in your job posting, you should kind of highlight a little bit of something in the very top in your title, but orders everything. But if you can go and highlight your corporate culture, your benefit package, things like that, you want to get that right underneath the meat and potatoes, which we can go and talk about that structure in just a moment before we move on.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, I think my next question for you, when you have previously applied for a role, like what was it that caught your attention? Because you have a very short, companies have a very short window of capturing people's attention on the job ad, something like less than 17 seconds. And so,
It's
what was it for you that caught
14
your
seconds
attention?
and 4 lines.
14 seconds. Wow,
14
got
seconds.
even lower.
Oh yeah, no, well, because you got to go and think about how people are they're scrolling through, okay? You need to capture their attention within 14 seconds or within the first 4 lines. All right.
Whoa,
Oh, I know.
that's a
So,
tall order.
oh, I know. But here's one of my tips and tricks, okay? People are applying for a position, like a specific role, a specific position, right? How do you
Right.
find them? Or how do they find you, right? And I like to have just a good, bold, brief statement, okay? X, Y, and Z position. So let's just go and use experienced forklift driver,
Okay.
right? I'll do a little dash and I'll put in the location, right? Okay, so
Mm,
Salt Lake City, Utah.
yeah.
Dash, great pay, dash, no weekends. Like something that highlights really
Whoa.
fast, really, really fast.
Yeah.
Just like, okay, you've got a clear understanding. Now I work in marketing for myself. It's like, okay, I work remotely and that's important to me. But so it's like, okay, the job title, the opportunity, all right, and what's the benefit? And then looking into, okay, all right, I guess I'll go click into this. And that's where those first 4 lines are so important, especially if you're trying to attract an hourly employee. I would definitely go put
Mm,
the pay
yeah.
range right in the title, like great pay. And then in the first 4 lines, this is your schedule, or like, or this is the shift, all right, like pay blank, 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 because you need people to understand what they're looking for or before they just scroll. Because if you have it at the bottom, eh, people are
Yeah.
looking for the bottom. They're like, well, what's in it for me? So that's where the structure of your actual job posting is really, really important. But start off with a bold, just simple title. Okay. Make it eye catching. All right. Have some
Yeah.
sort of benefit. Okay. If it's on site, no weekends, right? Local,
Yeah. That's important.
home daily, because that matters to people. And you got to catch their attention immediately.
That reminds me, in the past when I was, looking for, a new company to work for, for me, I was always looking at the pay rate. Like, did it fit within my pay range? And I was so dissatisfied with, 8 out of 10 jobs that, for the job title I was looking for did not advertise the pay. And that was a bit frustrating for me because, I wouldn't spend much time on those ones. And I probably left some good opportunities on the table, but, for whatever reason, the company didn't advertise the pay. Um, and the ones that advertise the pay, the next thing I was looking for was like their brand, their culture, and because that, just like you mentioned, culture is extremely important to you. It's extremely important to me, and I want to get an insight into that culture, and then I want to test and verify that when I actually go in an interview with the recruiter. Um, and Jeff Bezos was famous for saying, "Your brand is what other people say about you when you're not in the room." And it. I was looking at a study on LinkedIn that showed that 75% of job seekers consider an employer's brand before even applying for the job. And so, if you're not speaking about your brand and the culture in your job ad, you're really losing a large segment of qualified job seekers. Wouldn't you agree?
I do agree. Now, you got to keep in mind for like salaried positions, you can actually go put more of that information in the top of your ad. But if you're looking for an hourly employee, you got to throw some of the benefits and everything else, and you got to do the reverse. Listen, I've
Yeah.
done IT recruiting, I've done CDL recruiting, I have done light industrial, I've done all sorts of recruiting,
Yeah.
and it depends on the placement. For especially like if you're doing something like for a marketing role, no, I would like to learn more about the company and then just like short, like 2 lines. Okay, come work for the best company, blank, blank, blank. We offer X, Y, and Z. Okay, something to like grab my attention. All right, I'm like, all right, I'm intrigued. But before, like, because for some people, they'll just be like, oh, that looks good. The pay is right. Let's go. I'll apply, I'll apply,
Yeah.
I'll apply. But I can tell you, I turned down a job and actually took about a $30,000 pay cut because it wasn't the right fit culturally for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like you said, it goes back to that whole interview process. And that's something I think a lot of people, like as an employer, they kind of forget. And as a candidate, like you are interviewing one another because you want to make sure it's the right fit. It's not the first fit. It's not the fastest. It's not just a solution that's going to tie things up. No, that's going to cost you way more money in the long run because if it's not the right fit,
That's right.
it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing, it's important to give them a reason to apply,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to find the best ways to attract your ideal candidate. So what are some of those best ways? You mentioned them just a little bit: that experience, the pay, the skill set, the cultural fit.
Absolutely. And the thing is, I like to keep things short, simple, and brief. All right. And keep in mind, in order to find these people, you gotta keep your SEO terms. All right. You need to know what you're looking for. But we'll get back into that in
Mhm.
a second.
Hmm.
I like to go
SEO
have
terms.
a good, short, brief title. One or two sentences, experience blank, 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 where you highlight something. And then you go immediately into what the daily life would be. And I like to do bullet points. Okay. So it's like, all right, the job description. So when we go into, let's just say, forklift driver, like forklift driver job description, I go into the shift, I go into the pay, I go into average things. Are they going to be strapping? Are they going to be doing this? Blah, 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 blah. Some of the basic things, right? And
Yeah.
then I would go into the requirements, how many years of experience, if they have, you know, anything else
You're
that
not
they.
putting the requirements first at the top.
No, no, because a lot of the time that actually scares people off.
Hmm. Yeah.
It actually does. And the thing is, like, there are times when it's like, okay, requirements. It's like, oh man, think about how many times you've maybe looked at something. It's like, you know, I'm lacking like 6 months of that actual requirement, and it's actually like deterred me from
Plus,
applying.
there's that 14 seconds you have that you mentioned earlier. It's like that WIFM's probably the most important thing in the
That's right.
beginning.
Bam. I'm like, unsubscribe, swipe left. I move forward to the next job posting. No,
Yeah.
I'm serious. But I do really feel like it's so important to absolutely brag about your company culture, who you are. Um, you want to be able to go and intrigue a potential applicant. All right. And like throughout the ad, that's where it's like, okay, no weekends, right? Here's a little trickle here, like little tidbits, like little hidden Easter eggs throughout the ad. And then at the bottom, that's when you can really go sell them. It's like, you want to work for the best? Here's X, Y, and Z benefits day one, blah, 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 and go and like finish it off hard.
I
Okay.
love
Because you
that.
got to start trickling it in because we don't want just any candidate. We want the right one, right?
So speaking of trickling it in, a minute ago you mentioned about the importance of SEO, and I don't want to lose that. So I want to come back to it right now. Let's talk about how SEO plays into your job ad, because now you just talked about good copywriting, getting the WIFM in there, and a preview into the culture and the brand, and then going into the experience and those little golden nuggets layered through. So where does SEO play into all of this?
Okay. So what does SEO stand for, Stephen?
Oh, wow. I'm a sales guy. I'll
Okay,
tell you
I'll
though. I
take
know it's search engine optimization. Did I get that one right?
Yes, you
Yeah.
did. So, all right. You need to figure out what is the best SEO term for people to find you. This helps you out with your visibility. So, if you are looking for, I know I keep going back to the whole forklift driver.
Sure.
Okay. It's like you want to make sure you're putting in that term at least 7 to 11 times. into your job posting. It's like seeking forklift driver, right? Forklift, like I can't even speak today, but forklift driver job responsibilities,
Mm.
forklift driver requirements, forklift driver benefits. Like it,
Ah,
go and add it in certain secret ways, but you really don't want to take up more than like 1 or 2% of the actual job posting, but you want to have it in there because Google or Bing, Yahoo, whenever they're posting jobs or they're scraping the internet, you want those terms to be populated. So then people will find your jobs.
I wish I took a screenshot of this. Someone must have took your advice, but didn't quite listen because I saw a job ad that had like forklift driver in succession like 7 times at the bottom of the ad, thinking that would help with the SEO, but it wasn't very consumable if once you get there to read the ad. Is that a bad practice?
That's a terrible practice. That is not best practice. That is a no practice.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Please don't do that.
Oh, I love that. All right. Very helpful. So I was looking at some Indeed reports that were showing job postings that were optimized for SEO, which I now learn is search engine optimization, receive up to 30% more applicants. So it's not about, hey, it's about first you got to find the applicant, right? So through
Mhm.
proper SEO, you can get your job ad to go be pushed out much further. People can find you much quicker than those that don't have good SEO in their ad. And so, you're gonna have an increase of 30% more applicants just through good SEO. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, 100%. And I
Awesome.
can tell you, anytime I have gone and dived into this, it's like I will go and look through insights that we've used, like Cast, there's Indeed. It's like, okay, and you can go and target it down to your particular and specific area, even by zip code. Because previously, with one of the companies I worked with, CDL driver was their top SEO term, right? Versus truck driver. And
Mm,
you got to keep in mind, throughout the entire nation, every state and every city was different. So I actually took my time every single month to go and get these reports and send them out. So then the people who were actually posting these jobs, I'd be like, all right, this is your new top term. This is what you need to be advertising for. This is how we're going to find people. And if someone
yeah.
ever gave me a call, and still even to this day, if I get a call, it's like, all right, what term are you using? And then I go and I look for the top SEO term. I'm like, this is what we gotta go make. It's a great quick edit, but use data and leverage it.
Mm,
Biggest
that's
thing.
interesting. Yeah. So I want to focus on for a minute the requirements because requirements are important. You don't want anyone and everyone to apply to the job ad. We've all been there when you get countless resumes. Like I'm right now I'm working on hiring a couple salespeople, and this is the stack of resumes that are like ones I want to talk to, and the stack that applied is 10 times this size. So I think I did something wrong there. I've got to look at it, but for the qualifications what's the difference between like must have and nice to have, because we need to understand that when we're publishing job ads. Is that right?
Yes. Okay. So we're in staffing, right? So the thing is, we need to know the must haves from the client. All right. Because for some clients, it could be 2 years experience, right? For others, it could be 9 months of experience. And that's a must have, right?
Yeah.
That's a must have. Now, that's where I love putting a little asterisk with the nice to have, okay? Because let's just
Mm.
say I did not have experience, but then you can go put in like quotations or something else where it's like willing to train the right person.
Oh, okay.
Okay. What does that show you? Or what do you think it shows you?
For me, if I'm a 6 months or a year short of that experience, but then I see willing to train the right person, I go, oh, so you're saying I got a chance? I'm going to apply.
You're saying I got a chance. Well, no, it also shows that this is a company that wants to have longevity. It shows that they're willing to train. All right. And
Yeah.
on top of that, more career growth, which is something that a lot of people are looking for. They're not looking to stay stagnant.
Yeah.
All right. Because if a company is willing to go and train or be like, okay, hey, willing to train the right person, right? That
Yeah.
speaks volumes about the company, their culture, and longevity. Now, if you go and you put an asterisk being like, oh, hey, nice to have, does not make a determination, because also you don't want to go and like violate any EEOC guidelines. So,
Okay.
you don't want that, or the ADA coming after you. And so that's where you also need to be very aware of what you're posting before you put it out there, especially when it comes to like age. I mean, it could be gender, religion, things like that. Like, you do not want to disqualify someone because, I mean,
It's
you,
a
you
it's a big miss for a lot of companies that don't understand those guidelines. It's not, they're not purposely doing it. They just don't know. I've seen posts like I cringe, but this company got lit up. I saw it on a Facebook job post about, we're looking for young, strong men for this job to apply, and it's like, oh no, why?
have they gotten a letter yet?
Uh,
Just like, because that's the thing is like, okay, you want to attract the right candidate, but there's ways to do that. Okay. I know people who, I mean, they are small, they are petite, but they could lift 100+ pounds and throw it like it's nothing. You cannot go and underrate someone just physically. And when you're doing that,
right.
you're excluding a huge area, and also they're violating a bunch of federal laws. So let's not do that.
Yeah. So, get yourself refreshed on EEOC guidelines. It's really, quite simple and easy to follow, and it'll keep you out of a lot of trouble.
Yes.
And it'll and again, you're going to attract the right candidates that will appreciate that, you're following those guidelines.
And being just fully transparent. Okay. Like, because there's here, we really do want you to have this, but it's a nice to have for this, but do not include anything that would violate EEOC guidelines. So,
Got it. All
yeah.
right. So we talked about the with him a few minutes ago. I want to come back to it. Where does that come in the job ad, or something along the lines of compensation and benefits? Where does that come in again?
Okay. So, what I have found in my years of, just being in staffing. All right. The with him, like I said, little hidden Easter eggs. Okay. You want to have a little bit of one that's like intriguing right in the title, just bold. It's like, okay, job, location, a with them. Okay. Just like, what's in
Yeah.
it for me? We're in light industrial, so like home daily, no weekends. That's great. Okay. Because it's
Yeah.
like, and in transportation, that's even better. But you got to think about having it right there. Okay. And then you trickle it in with the job responsibilities. Okay. Or the job description. Have a couple of lines. Bam, bam, bam. Here's your shift. Okay. If it's first shift, a lot of people love that, right? A lot of people want a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
Maybe some people want to have third shift, second shift. It depends on their lifestyle. But you want to kind of go and trickle them in, but they are so important. And that's where I would definitely make sure you've got a good section at the very, very bottom. Now, that's for hourly employees specifically.
Yeah.
Now I found the reverse where you could go and have that little paragraph about what makes us different. We do X, Y, and Z for more salaried positions in IT, where you're going to be like, okay, here, hey, remote, great benefits, phenomenal company, room for growth. And then you go into the nitty gritty.
That
It's
brings up
odd.
a no.
It's odd, but years of
It is.
experience.
I'm not used to that, and it makes sense as someone that's been a job seeker in the past. Both as an hourly and a salary employee. And I was curious. This is a question that often comes up, and that's how transparent should we be about the salary? If, benefits, career opportunities, all of those things. I think salary sits at the top of that list, and a lot of companies are not transparent about the salary, and I wonder how transparent we should be.
I honestly, I like, ugh, I do believe in transparency when it like comes to pay. Now, we also understand that there could be a range of pay based off of experience. But in July of 2022, Indeed actually enforced a pay transparency act. So if
Really?
you did not have, yes. So if you did not format your jobs a specific way with the pay range, they would either A, not publish it, okay, which means what? No
Yeah.
applicants,
No applicants.
no one can see it. And B, they also, if they were going to sponsor it, they would actually go put in what would be like a suggested, like just pay range
Mm,
based off of their own
which could be completely
analytics.
off.
Exactly.
Wow.
Because the job could be for more, it could be for less. And the thing is, you got to keep in mind with every single job board, they have so many different details. Like, okay, just a couple high level like tips. Do not put in an email or a phone number. You will be most likely screened out. They won't even publish it.
Wow.
They'll think it's spam. I mean, you can get away with that with Craigslist,
Yeah.
but not your big heavy hitters. I mean, if you go and you put in a hyperlink and it is posted onto Indeed, unless someone is going to be copying and pasting that into the link, which is most likely not going to happen, it's not going to work. Or they
Mm,
won't publish because they'll think it's spam.
wow.
So,
That's really good to know.
yeah, little pro tip. Trust me, I've seen this way too many times. And when I was doing IT recruiting and sales, I gotta tell you, like I figured out the template. Like I felt like I went through a boot camp. Okay. I figured out my templates and I adjusted per role because I could tell you every single day I would walk into roughly about 500 applications or resumes where most people are probably, I don't know, maybe getting like sometimes 45. I don't know. One of my girlfriends, she maybe got like 100 one time. And so then that was a lot of sorting time. But what was the difference of my job postings versus theirs?
What was the
With
difference? Oh, boom.
okay, and optimizing SEO terms.
Okay. I'm following. I'm a slow learner, but I'm catching on here.
Oh, yeah, I'm mildly decent at this. Okay.
Okay, quick question. We talked about the WIFM. So perks and unique offerings. What should we be putting in there? What's going to stand out? Um, you know, hit me with a few of those.
Okay. All right. So every company is different, but it's like, all right, like 401k, right? Do they
Yeah.
match? Do they match to a certain percentage? Is it 100% up to a certain percent? I mean, is it going to be okay on every Friday you can work from home? Is it going to be flexible hours? It could be anything and everything.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, one of my girlfriends, she gave me a call, like, I don't know, this was like 2 years ago. She's like, I love my new company. I was like, why? She was like, because we had they had a keg in their office. Like it was a marketing firm. Okay. But
That
so
makes sense. It's a marketing firm.
up in Boston, right? I was like, okay, I should apply now, right? But
Right.
I don't do the beer. Okay, I don't do the beer. All right, right. Hysterical. But so it was one of those things where the boss, because it was a smaller firm, the boss would be like, oh, hey, all right, everyone, it's beer 30.
Wow.
Okay, where it was 30 minutes that it would happen randomly, where it was one of those things like they wanted people to actually go and take a break
Mm,
and just get to know one
socialize.
another. And if you were caught talking about anything work related, they'd be like, no. They'd nip it in the bud. They want people to
Take your beer away.
pretty much. But I know it's funny to say it like that, but like that was one of those things. She called me up bragging. She was like, I love this because I'm actually getting the opportunity not just to work with these people, but to actually get to know them. And I mean, like she
Yeah.
ended up being in like two of their weddings and like because of, I don't know, a bi-weekly break that actually like really forced them to get to know one another, like in a really good, positive way.
Mm.
So, like, I mean,
So
we're
for that marketing firm and their job ad, they should
yeah.
put beer 30 in the, and how would you
I think
promote
that's an
that?
interview question. It's like, here, these are things that we do. But I mean, you definitely, within a job posting, you need to go and find a way how to demonstrate your core values of your business. All right. For someone who's very
Yeah, how do we that's a great question to ask you. How do we effectively communicate the company's core values and work environment in a job ad? That's got to be pretty
honestly,
difficult.
what, think about either the company mission statement or vision statement or principles. Okay. And this is how
Yeah.
I like to really finish off a job, like ad strong, right? You can either ask it as a question or you can put it as a statement. All
Mm,
right. Go and think about it this way. Come work with the best. We offer X, Y, and Z. If you want to be part of the right team where we are placing the right people the first time, every time, we encourage you to apply today.
mm, I
All
like
right.
that.
Like it could just be one or two sentences. Um, but I mean, there's other ways that you can go and put in your like workplace culture and like, okay, hey, I'm rather philanthropic. Okay. It's like, oh, hey, wait, can we impact our community? How can we do it? It's
Yeah.
like, you could always be like, hey, looking to join a team that is helping to build or increase small business like growth and this and that. You
Yeah.
can put all sorts of different words. And sometimes it's getting creative with your words, but you better follow up and actually believe it. As a company, you better actually do it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Can't
But
just be words.
exactly. I mean, culture is everything, at least for me. I would rather be with the right company in the right role than in a position where, because this has happened to me before, I was miserable. Okay. Where I was just like, oh my goodness, I've got no energy. I had no work life balance. And so, just at the level where I'm at personally, you got to think about how can you attract the right people and how it's going to prevent turnover, how you can actually,
You don't want to hire someone that could be a culture killer.
yeah, no, seriously, yeah, you
Yeah.
don't. Yeah, we don't need any Debbie Downers, and sorry for anyone named Debbie, but you know like, but
Right.
like you don't want to have that, and that's like one of those things. Like you just gotta think about it. It's like, okay, how can you go and sell this? Because I mean, that's something that's really important for me. And I was actually talking to my sister about this the other day because she's actually looking for a new company. And she's like, well, I worked with this company before and they were great, but okay. And then there are other
Hmm.
people who I've known that have been looking for another job and I mean, they finally got the right job and they turned down other positions because it wasn't the right fit.
Yeah,
Um,
it's important.
and it's, hey, how do they advertise? How do they get their messaging out there? Okay,
Yeah.
like, so I think it's really important to put in there, but salary versus hourly, two different conversations. However, Stephen, you know that we did release a ebook recently, right?
I do. Yes.
Well, it's all on reducing turnover. However, there's a whole section just all based on job posting best practices in there. So I encourage all of you to go and download it.
Yeah. If you're interested, send me an email. I've got my email on the screen. If you're listening, it's steve@youremploymentsolutions.com. I will not be putting my email in a job ad now that I've learned that as a no-no from John Viev today. But yes, please send me an email or a message if you're watching on LinkedIn if you'd like a copy of our new ebook. And we got a big section in there about job ads that John Viev has written. So check it out. I do want to end with one more question because this is coming up a lot more now than it has in the past, and that's DEI, promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion, and how does that reflect in a job posting? Because it's important for a lot of companies these days, but it's much harder to put that in a job ad.
Honestly, I love the fact if we can go and showcase it. All right. We are an inclusive company, period. Okay. But you don't want to specifically rule out other candidates because of like EEOC guidelines where it's like, oh, we are looking for DEI only.
Okay.
So that's more of like something I would go and include like in an interview. It's like, here, we are open to all experiences, all
Walks
like
of life.
exactly. Because you
Yeah.
never know who you're going to meet. And we're all individuals, right? We live in
Yep.
our own universe. However, you got to be careful when it does come to advertising with that. You don't
Tell me
want
if
to
this is good or bad.
HR needs to be open to it. Everyone needs to be open
Yes.
to it. Period.
So one thing I've seen that I thought is really cool, and maybe this is good, maybe it isn't, but I've seen companies like we're a veteran-owned company or we're a female-owned company, and for me personally, I think that's really cool. I love seeing that.
Oh,
but is that appropriate for a job ad? Is that good?
yes.
Yes.
100%. That's fine. But there are some ways where it can get kind of weird. And
Sure.
you just don't want to violate anything when it comes to EEOC. But honestly, I got to tell you, one of my girlfriends, she's a veteran and she has her own company. And I flat out told her, advertise, promote yourself as a female veteran. And then on top of that, she's also a minority. So it's like, okay. I was like, blank, 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 blank. Advertise that. Put that in your H1. Put that in your H2. Sorry, that's website jargon. But it's like, advertise that.
I love that.
And no, on how to promote herself and her brand. I think it's super, super important, but you've just got to be careful, especially when it comes to a job posting. Where some people would be like, oh, wait a minute, because I'm not this, I'm not going to be able to apply. I mean, there's ways around it.
How you write it.
If you're promoting, hey, we are a female-owned company, we are a veteran-owned company, X, Y, and Z. But that does not mean that it's like we only hire veterans. Okay, you cannot go and say something like that.
You got it. Okay.
That's where it gets fickle.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I am just shocked, but also thrilled that we were able to spend 50 minutes talking about writing job ads that stand out. I talked to John Viev the other day, like, how do we make this sexy and fun and like, because we're talking about job ads here, and she's like, I got you.
I still have 4 pages that we didn't even touch. To be continued.
Okay, so let's just kind of wrap this up for those that have stayed with us this whole time. Thank you for those that have been listening this whole time, and those that have just jumped in. Just highlight the secret to a standout job ad. Give us those bullet points.
Okay, so look for what you are posting. Okay, like decide who is it that you are looking to attract. Okay, speak to people who have either worked in that role or who are managing that role. Get a clear idea. Okay, then have a very good, short, brief title. All right, include a with them, which is
No weekends.
Okay, great example. However, I was looking for what's in it for me.
What's in it for me? Okay,
Yeah,
I'm a slow learner. Okay,
yeah, it's fine.
I
And
got it.
then you want to go into the job responsibilities. Make sure you're using your SEO terms. How many times?
5 to 7.
7 to 11. Close.
7 to 11. Think of 7-Eleven.
Yeah. I'm going to quit asking you questions. So then, all right. So then you go into the actual requirements. There's a difference between the nice to have versus must have. All right. You can go put an asterisk, but you want to keep it brief, short, and simple. If you are willing to train on the job, that shows great growth opportunity within the company. And then you want to make sure that you are highlighting and showcasing how, where, and why your company is different, and give your applicants a reason to apply.
Which is what we all want. That's the ultimate goal.
Exactly. Why do you want to work for X, Y, and Z company? Make sure you have that. The call of action.
Yeah.
That's it. Short, simple, brief.
I love it. Well, thanks again, Genevieve, for joining us again on the podcast. It's been such a treat, and I've learned a lot, even though I'm a slow learner. So I'm going to have some more questions after this, but some really good points made today. And I think job seekers alike out there are going to appreciate what you've taught recruiters today on how to write effective job ads that stand out. So thank you, Genevieve. It's been a pleasure.
You're so very welcome. And also just more, like, go and reference the ebook that we just released. It's free. So please go to youremploymentsolutions.com, or you can go and email Steve.
That's right.
We'll make sure we get it over to you.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. And we'll see you next Friday. We have a special guest, Brad Bailey from Haley Marketing. He's the host of 2 podcasts, of the most downloadable podcasts in the staffing industry. He's going to be talking about how, companies in the staffing industry, so staffing agencies, how you can go and get more job orders, which is probably the #1 topic for staffing agencies out there today. So don't miss it. We will be streaming live on LinkedIn next Friday, as well as it'll be pushed out to Podbean and Spotify. So looking forward to next Friday, and we'll bring Genevieve back again later. Can't wait. It won't be on job ads. It'll be on something else, I'm sure. Just as fun and entertaining.
Always, always.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thank you for having me once again.
All right. Thanks. Have a good weekend.
Six months ago, I get a call from Steve Farrell, who wants to talk about partnering with Yes for our labor needs. It would
change your approach to staffing.
change my approach to staffing?
We're short on employees. Again. So we're going to have to shut down a line. Sorry.
I told him I've already used multiple agencies and have had headaches with each one. So my approach to staffing is just fine.
With multiple agencies, we thought we had our staffing needs covered.
I had negotiated a super low rate to save on labor costs.
And I could pursue my passions outside of work because I never had to stay overtime due to turnover, productivity, or training issues.
The agency sent quality people. Well, they sent people. Sometimes.
My love of language and lexicon languished.
I negotiated a super low rate.
Hey, the agency employees didn't show up, so we're short on staff again.
Bupkis. Curses. Fetch.
right, an agency sent an employee.
Do you have production experience?
I've produced YouTube videos. I'm hungry. When's my first break?
This is not sustainable. If you want happy customers and a healthy business, something's gotta change. So yes, we tried yes.
Yes focuses on finding the right people for the right job.
Turnover is down, productivity is up.
Yes trains
Or onboards.
quality employees, ensuring they have the skills
Or proper work ethic.
our company needs to succeed.
Thrive.
Yes provides us with quality data so we don't have to juggle multiple agencies to fill our needs.
They could have doubled our rate.
No, they could not have.
Okay, maybe not doubled, but Yes's cost was cheaper in the end. They solved our problems, which were way more expensive than a few points on rate.
I'm just happy that Yes provides us with good people.
Great employees to fill our workflow gaps.
And Yes brings them fast.
Yes specializes in production, warehouse, manufacturing.
And I love that Yes focuses on workplace safety.
Yes also offers services like time clock and
Payroll services, forklift drivers, pickers, packers, general labor.
I like how Yes customizes their screenings to our needs.
I love that we've hired many Yes employees as
Short-term, direct hire, seasonal work, part-time, full-time,
and long-term members of our company.
I love partnering with Yes. No more gaps in production, and I can focus on efficiency without stressing about costs or people. Yes really has
revolutionize.
changed our approach to staffing. Our people are happy.
Your customers are happy.
And that makes me
Delirious.
happy.
Delighted.
Happy.
Thrilled.
Happy.
Cheerful. Gratified. Ecstatic.
Happy. He said happy.
Sunny. Jovial. Tickled. Pleased.
Happy.